November 2009. I'm working at a local community college, a junior college outside Sacramento, California, a little minimum wage job. So I'm working there. It's late night, we're closing up shop. I'm working in the computer lab. I decide, since we're closing up shop, I'm gonna, turn on this Facebook one time, right? To see what the latest news, social media conditions is happening, So I decide to open up my Facebook. I see a message, just one singular red message in the blue and white, like my friend was talking about earlier with that Facebook. I open the message and I see a familiar name. Let's flash back to 2005. Back then, I used to try to pretend I was a rapper. I used to pretend like I did poetry and stuff like that. So I used to post my poetry and my raps on this Tupac message board. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. I was called Ghetto Star. Never lived in the hood in my life, but I went Ghetto Star. Because, that's like a Tupac song, right? That's off his Better Days album, 2 CD set, just saying. So anyways, I used to post my music, my poetry on this message board. And I had this individual that would always like my music and my poetry. I decided, okay, let me try to engage this individual a little bit, this woman, this amazing woman. We talked a little bit, we exchanged messages. She used to moderate this message board on the Do for Love section. Do for Love is another Tupac song, in case y'all don't know, just saying it's a great Tupac song. So he used to do this Do for Love section with love, relationships, marriage, and all sorts of things. And I was just struck by the melodies of her words and everything that she used to say. It just stuck with me. So we chatted a little bit, 2006, chat rooms or whatever back in the day. This is before, text messages, WeChat or whatever you call it, WeChat. And so, we talked a little bit, but then we lost contact because, she decided she wanted to do, a holiday in Europe, which ended up being a work trip. So she did the working thing. I lost contact with her, she lost contact with me. The rest is history until that night, November 2009. So, we start talking again, it's all good, right? A couple days later, I'm riding with my little brother, Alan Michael Green. We get in a car accident when I'm picking him up from work. So that car accident, we were both physically all right, but mentally not. And he's still dealing with some stuff right now, probably as a result of that. So during this process, I'm trying to deal with insurance, even though it was my fault with this accident, right? American insurance, as we know, is a problem. Whether it's health insurance, car insurance, home insurance, earthquake insurance, magical fairies from the leprechauns insurance. I'm just saying, insurance is a problem. So in California, they weren't really trying to do me right. So dealing with that stress, dealing with that emotional trauma, it really had me in a bad place. On top of that, trying to get into university for grad school, to do what I do right now, to be a school psychologist. They didn't accept me originally. So I'm dealing with that stress, but all the while there's this individual on the other end of the computer screen that's telling me it's all right. I feel your pain, I feel your emotion. I too went through school, got undergraduate degrees, and can't find work here in Oz in Australia. So we bond. We both are talking about love, we're talking about marriage, we're talking about kids, we're talking about all of that. And me as a hopeless romantic that grew up listening to Prince, Babyface, all these romantics and the stories of my parents who met in elementary school and been married for 33 years. I believed in love. I still believe in love a little bit. I guess I'm a hopeless romantic. Just saying. But the point is, even though this is through like social mediated conditions, even though it's through the internet, even though everything that I'm saying, people would say, well, you can't trust nobody. You probably gonna get catfish and stuff like that. I knew from the words as a lyricist, as a writer, that this person was authentic, at least in my view. Web chats, phone calls, emails, letters. I mean, from one web chat, webcam, her mom was there for God's sake. So everything was matching, and that's why I was like, okay, this is not gonna be one of those catfish situations, I'm not gonna be frauded. So, what happens is we learn about each other, we're talking. I decided, you know what? It's about 2010, my 25th birthday. I want to see this individual. I want to meet this person. I'm working a minimum job, like I said, right? U.S. don't pay people right in terms of minimum wage, even if it's a California state of mind. So I decided I'm going to collect these recyclables, right? So I'm collecting recyclables, turning them in, trying to save little $2, $10, everything like that, right? I'm having people saying, okay, I want to support your dream to go to Australia. So I'm going to give you my recyclables too, Jeremy. Just saying, I got a lot of good love back home, just saying. But eventually, for my 25th birthday, I was able to purchase that ticket to Sydney, Australia, to meet this person who lived in Parramatta, a suburb outside of Sydney. I get on the plane in San Francisco, it's March 2011. I hop on that plane. It's a long plane flight on Qantas Airline. I arrive. She tells me beforehand that she's gonna host me. She also told me to bring a towel. And I don't know how to swim, but I was willing to dive into the deep end of the pool. Because with love, I was willing to do whatever it took, even if it's meeting somebody online. I get off the plane, I get into the airport, I sense it, I feel it, I've arrived. Internationally for the first time. A big legacy thing for, somebody like me and my family. I email her. She tells me that she can't come pick me up because she's working late. Tells me how to get to Parramatta. I jump on the train, I got baggage. Physically and mentally, right? I'm dressed like I am right now. It was a white t-shirt, a dress shirt with black tie and a black vest, carrying baggage, like I said. I get from Sydney, I make it to Parramatta. I'm walking with this baggage, like I said, physically and mentally, up Church Street, because she's living up there. She tells me, look for the garage in my apartment that has bird crap on it. Okay, fine. I find that garage with the bird crap on it. And I wait, and I wait, and I wait. Hour and a half later, it's about 5 o'clock. I haven't heard anything from her. And I didn't turn my cell phone on because, like I said, this is my first international experience. And I didn't know to have my cell phone on me. I don't see her. I start worrying. I start panicking. Maybe she was here earlier. Maybe she doesn't know I'm here right now. And oh yeah, she didn't tell me her apartment number. And it's not on the garage. So I take my bag and I say, well, I gotta try to find a phone real quick. I walk up the street, I'm seeing brothers playing rugby. I'm like, I want to join in with that. And then realize, oh, that's a little rough and tumble, man. You're about 5'7", you can't do that. So I keep walking, I see people being aggressive with each other. I find a liquor store. Talk to the guy, say, I don't know, how to call a phone number in Australia. He said, I'll call it for you because I had her number. People walk in, they hear my voice, they hear the little southern accent a little bit with a little California slang, and then they're like, oh, we got a freshie. Meaning I just got off the, the airship or the airboat or whatever you want to call it. Dude calls, no answer. Calls, no answer. Calls, no answer. No answer at all. So I started wondering, okay, well, it's getting late. I need to find a hotel. So I'm walking around Parramatta looking for a hotel, not knowing where to find one. It's getting dark. I start panicking, not so much for myself, but I'm worried that maybe she thinks I got cold feet. I find a hotel, I check in, I buy and purchase internet, which was expensive at the time, just saying. So I buy this internet, expecting 100 emails of worry and fear. Where are you? What you got into? Just nothing. Nothing at all. So, it's funny because it's the same thing that keeps on happening to me. So I gotta, as a school psychologist, I gotta try to analyze myself. Yeah? Yeah. Because of this same theme of lost in translation, meaning that I'm trying to talk to you and we're exchanging messages, and it's lost, then something gotta be wrong with me because I'm the common denominator in every equation. So in the end, I spend 12 wonderful days in Sydney. I go to Bondi, I go to the Circular Quay, and outside the Sydney Opera House. I go back to Parramatta and write her a letter because I knew this story was too twisted not to at least try. Leave it on her garage, get on the plane, and left. Nothing at all. So I guess the point of the matter, what I'm trying to say is like, when we think lost in translation is like love, right? It doesn't matter if it's through the internet or through in person to person. We're not our authentic selves. We're afraid of that. We are so anxious about the unknown and trying to dive in. And I keep seeing this over and over and over in terms of the ways that I love and the people I fall in love with. From Shanghai to the Shy, aka Chicago. I decided 7 years ago, or actually 7 years to this later, meaning March of this year, I'll email her, send her a message, just randomly. And if you know Tupac got a weird thing about 7. And number 7 is something weird with Tupac, history. But I sent her a message and she finally responds. Yeah. And says, you know what? I got your letter. And the reason I didn't see you that day is because I was afraid. I wasn't confident with myself at that time, so I didn't want to see you. And I felt bad. Felt bad. But the point of the matter is this. At the end of the day, that experience led me to be right here today. Talking about what it means to be able to translate in languages that are more complex, like love and authenticity. Because in the end, I'm going to leave you with this. It takes two for someone to be the one. Thank you.
Applause.